Hey, what's up, guys? I'm finally getting to the Bone Spirit build for you guys. Been messing around with it, trying to make sure I really had it where I wanted to be. What you just saw was a T100 clear, or sorry, a T110 pit clear. No deaths, flawless, easy money. Just kind of chilled while we were doing all of it. Got a couple of tricky spots when the electricity came out, but you know that's the way it usually goes. Not the best mob tile set we got, not the best boss, but as you see, it was still doing great. We were popping 1.3s, 1.4s. Highest I've seen so far is 1.6 billion. We're not in the greatest gear yet. We're only at a few Masterworks. None of them are 12 of 12 yet. Don't even have a lot of GAs. So just kind of put that in perspective of what this build's capable of. Definitely going to see 2 bill plus hits pretty consistently. I mean, you saw in the video how frequently we were getting those 1 bill plus hits pretty easily without even any setup. We were just going about our business. Yes, sometimes Flesh Eater was up, sometimes it wasn't. So we were getting some really nice hits without it. A couple of things about this build, however, that are currently impacting, so I'm going to give you a little short disclaimer prior to getting into all the intricacies of how this build works and what makes it tick. So, first and foremost, currently right now, this little fella right here, this little dog, our pet, our cosmetic pet, is actually giving us an additional 7 essence. So that is a 21 or 28% multiplier on our base attack damage, based off of getting 7 free essence for having a cosmetic pet. That is going to be fixed. They've already confirmed that is an oversight. It'll be fixed. So 7 of our essence doesn't count. The other thing with this is the second piece of essence that is also out of whack right now is our Bone Prism. Currently right now Bone Prism acts as a minion. It always has. It hasn't changed. But one thing it is doing is when Bone Prism deactivates and it's down, it's giving you a free 7 essence. It's counting as, for some reason, there's an existing hidden minion that it's giving us 7 free essence for. Don't know why, but that's the case. But when it is up, you do get the additional 5 minions, so you're getting that 35. But Bone Prism currently is accounting for 42 total essence, 7 of which is just there no matter what you do once you cast your first Bone Prism. Okay, those are your 2 disclaimers. Now let's talk about what makes this build really go off. So normal Bone Prism or Bone Spirit on its own has a small percent chance to overpower. Now with Spirit now being classified as a core skill, we can take advantage of the Banished Lord's Talisman. It states anytime you spend 275 of your primary resource, your next core skill is guaranteed to overpower. So currently right now, with standing still, not buffing Bone Graft, not having Bone Prism out, just sitting here with a single potion, we are at 313 essence. So guaranteed our first hit of Bone Spirit is going to trigger that 275 essence. When you do get everything rolling, however, we're going to get a little above 348, somewhere around 350, a little over 350 once we're totally fully buffed with the build. Alright, so that's kind of what enables the build. But what else goes into this? So we're obviously getting some core ranks, some Bone Spirit ranks, and it's really cool because with the new itemization, we actually get those in a lot of places. So the amulet itself is giving us, I do have a GA core. I would like to have the multiplier capped, but I'm not spending the money yet to min-max this fully. But right now we have the 2, and we did hit it once, so it'll upgrade to 3 as we got a little further. We have the Macabre chest plate, also GA. We have the core, also GA, and we have the boots, also GA. So all of that piled into each other is giving us currently a whopping 24 to Bone Spirit, which our base damage is 262 multiplied by 4x multiplier of all of our essence, which we're getting 350-ish on each cast. So that's kind of what's making this build will pop off, and we do have the multiplier from the Bloodmoon Breaches as well. Now, what else really makes this build activate are some of your key affixes for the build. And so we're going to go over first we're going to go through the gear itself. Again, don't have the best gear yet. I've been kind of working more on, as y'all know, working on the Blight, and then I took some time off to play some minions. But we're back to the Spirit. We're going to finish this out. We're going to upgrade the gear and really see what we can push. So we're going to go through the gear first. I'm going to give you what stats you're really looking for. what aspects you need for the build. Then we'll go through the Paragon, and then we'll just kind of go over a little bit more of the rotation, and again, some more things that once we talk about what all the aspects do, how this all works together. All right, so first off, a lot of people have asked, can you use Shaco? Yeah, you can. It's going to give you +4 to your to your bone spirit, so we're going to have an additional 4 to that. We're going to have more DR. We're going to have more essence generation. But I personally am choosing a legendary hat currently. I am going to play around more with the Shaco as we go. But right now I'm really focused on this itself because we can get a Photic. We all know about the bugs with the Photic, or not say bugs, but how it's working with the interaction with melee minions right now. And it's also keeping them healed up as well. So plus it's giving them that ability to also stun, and stunning is really important, especially for bosses, because we do want them stunned as much as we can, so we can take advantage of that time to breathe while they're stunned. So that's what this is for. This is why I've chosen this over the Shaco. Yes, Shaco is acceptable. It is 32 essence, but if you are taking my 313 base minus the 32, we're still right where we need to be for max essence. So just take that into account. 14 of those are bugs. So if we've missed those 14 having Old Yeller here and the Bones Prison bug, we are under the cap of where we need to be for casting that Bone Spirit. So for me, having the more essence, which is also a 4% multiplier on the base attack, means a lot more to me than having that 4 skills in the DR. So this is the choice for this hat. What you need, again, if you're using this instead of Shaco, and again, I do recommend this over Shaco, at minimum, you're going to want your GA and your max resource, and you want to hit it twice for your master workings. For your tempers, the curse duration is great, tendrils is great, tendril size, not duration. We've already talked about that in another video. And it's very important to have the max essence per second. Some people have asked about this repeatedly, like, why are we stacking so much max essence or essence regen if we have both the Macabre cast restore? Well, the more essence you get for a higher damage, that means you need more essence regen. So you're just trying to keep up on the regen for how much of this essence. And again, we're sitting over 350 once we're fully buffed and going. For our chest plate here, you want, at bare minimum, you want your GA for your Macabre. You could roll Int here. I just don't have a better chest right now. I would much rather have Int in this spot than the max life, because we're already sitting at 52,000. It's pretty excessive, considering that Int is a higher multiplier for us. So I would much rather have the Int here, and you do want the essence per second. I, again, don't have the best rolls here. You could roll armor here instead of having 2 armor percent rolls, which would get you to that armor cap, but I don't, so I had to roll the armor percent for the defensive slot. You could also roll dodge here. Dodge is incredibly strong, and it would help with some of the defensive side. For your gloves, I would much prefer having Int over the max life here as well. Again, this is the best I've got. At bare minimum, you need to have your core skills as your GA, and then you need crit strike chance on it as well as your Int. For your tempers, curse duration, I've hit what I've hit. I've bricked a lot of this. We've got what we got. Again, tendrils size, decrepify duration, or any of those are fine. But the most important one here is the bone spirit damage. Yes, you can roll bone crit damage, but the bone spirit damage is more important because the base attack is what's getting multiplied by the bone spirit itself using the essence. So increasing its base damage is going to be multiplied before the crit damage. For your Blood Moon breaches, you really want max life and the amplifiers or GAs. Don't have it. The chance to curse is no big deal, whatever. We know they're always going to be cursed between the minions as well as your decrepify, so it's not a big deal. The big things you're looking for here is your max life and your amplified damage. I would much rather have had the amplified damage GA than the max life, because that's another multiplier for when they're cursed. For your tempers here, you can't, so master working on the amplified damage would be your primary. On the boots, I would much prefer to be able to have rolled the armor stat on one of my other pieces, so I could have gotten movement speed. But what you're looking for here is, again, at minimum you want your GA for bone spirit, and then you want essence per second. And again, I'd much rather have move speed. We like moving fast. That's that's it. For your tempers, definitely want your move speed, and then again, same thing here, tendril size, duration size, whatever you hit here. As long as you're not doubling up, if you get too much, you can only get to 100% on size. For your weapon, I've got intelligence, maximum life, and overpower damage. I got a really good scythe here. You want to use the scythe for the damage per hit. It's higher than the other ones. Yes, you get a little bit more crit damage, but no big deal. You're not getting additional attacks from this, so your attacks per seconds really don't matter. What we're looking for is the damage per hit. And then for your tempers, same thing. You want your bone spirit damage. Again, that's what the base attack is multiplied off of. And then for the second one, you want bone spirit size. I can't tell you how important this one is. Just being able to clear packs, as you saw in here, those sizes of the explosions were huge. And it's also very important for when you're bossing, because a lot of the bosses now do have those ads. And being able to not rely on the AI of your bone spirit. So if you're fighting a boss that's got multiple ads, a lot of times the bone spirit will take precedence on the ads instead of the boss. So having a larger bone spirit size is going to help you to hit the boss even when it's going after those its minions. For your offhand, so I've been up and down on this one. Currently right now I'm using this one with intelligence, max life, and max resource. I'm going to talk a little bit about what's rapid ossification is doing here in a minute. But currently the way that I'm working with the rotation, we don't need the CDR. That's why I went with the max life. Ideally, you want to crit on your maximum resource at minimum twice, and then preferably the other time, or the bone spirit damage. For your tempers, same thing. We're going for bone spirit and bone spirit size. For your two rings, they're going to match. They're going to be int crit strike and overpower damage, or int crit strike and max life. Either one you get are fine. For your tempers, both of them need to have macabre skills restore primary essence, and the bone spirit damage. Ideally, you will crit on the restores essence at least once, preferably twice, just to make sure you are capped. And again, the more essence you have, the more restore you need. And then finally, for your amulet, you're going to be using the Banished Lord's Talisman. The most important thing to hit here is a GA on core skills. If you do get a GA on core skills, just one upgrade will get it to 3, so that's perfectly fine. Now let's talk about your aspects. Of course, we want the Hardened Bones to keep our DR up. We're using Grasping Veins for the multiplicative crit strike damage, as well as getting us to the crit strike chance. And we're going to talk about what your crit strike chance needs to look like when we get to the stats here in just a second. Occult Dominion, that gives us the extra 2 Skellies and 2 Mages, which gives us the additional essence, as well as nice having a little front line with your Reapers that are giving you the corpses as well. Serration on the weapon, Edge Masters on the offhand, Torment. This is incredibly important, having the Torment as high as you can get it, because both of the restores and your essence per seconds all trigger off of Torment's essence generation. And then lastly, you want the Requiem Band, and this one's huge because it gives you, and you really do want to get a maximum on this, because right now with us sitting at the pet, well, our pet, plus our 11 minions, we have 12, so we're getting an additional 84 essence for that, so it's kind of a big deal having all that essence. Now, for your stats, there's a couple things that go into your crit strike. So first and foremost, you have your Corpse Tendrils. So every time that's up, and our cooldown on Corpse Tendrils is pretty solid, so we do have 25% there. We also have from our skill tree, we have 12 crit strike chance here. These don't get added, it's 12. So we're at 37 with those two. We get 4 from our Paragon from Entomb, and we'll go through that in just a second. And then from our passive of Serration, we get an additional, let's call it 10, because we have about 300 essence. So when you add all that together, you're sitting at 12 from your Inspiring Leader, 25 from your Corpse Tendrils puts us at 37, plus 4 is 41, and then 10 gets us at 51 crit chance. So what you're looking at for your stats, at bare minimum, you need 49, and that's if it's up all the time. So currently right now, I'm way above crit strike chance. That does include the 12% from Inspiring Leader, so I'm sitting right at 55% right now, so I'm well over the crit strike chance. So anywhere around 50 is where you want to be sitting. That gives you 100% guaranteed crit strike, which is also very important because that's what's going to get your rapid ossification going. So let's go through the skills next. Same as usual, just put in whatever you want here to get to the next line in the skill tree. We are taking 3 into Unliving Energy. It's going to give us the 9 extra essence. We are taking 3 into core or imperfectly balanced because guess what? Spirit is a core now, so that's huge. Currently, right now, I am up and down about this one. Right now, I've got 1 in it, and y'all saw the corpse generation. This is on a boss, and I have more than I know what to do with because we're using Reapers. And in our Paragon, when we go through that, I'm going to show you how we're keeping the Reapers alive. 1 into Blood Mist. We're going all the way down to the Ghastly. Now, one thing, if you are short on crit chance, you can spec over to the Dreadful. That's going to give you the additional 10%. I just like having the ability to get an instant corpse if I need it, or if there's another corpse when I'm trying to set up something defensively. 3 into Skeletal Warrior Mastery. If you're running Defenders, there's another version that I'm going to put out another Paragon board for one without Defenders, but right now I'm using, or with Defenders, right now I'm using Reapers just because of the corpse gen on the bosses. It's too massive, especially for pushing. Now, that was a 110 that you just saw. The Reapers stayed alive. There were a couple sketchy spots. The fire ones that just have the static fire going underneath you, the lightning orbs and poison do tend to kill a few of them, so just be mindful. You will need to be spamming to keep them alive. Bone Prison. We take 1 into it and go down into the, when an enemy is trapped, you get essence back. 1 into Grim Harvest. You do not need to worry about speccing into this, even though we do get some back. Our essence gen from everything else that we've put into is keeping you well above that. You're using this Grim Harvest just to get Fueled by Death, which is giving us another multiplier. 3 into Death's Embrace for some DR close. There's a lot of times when you are close, especially trying to keep moving through the dungeons, especially if you're speed farming, so that's nice, but also it gives you that 60% multiplier. 3 into Amp Damage to give you the amp damage when they're cursed. 1 into Decrepify, going down to Abhorrent to keep your CDR going. None into Skeletal Mages. The Mages typically stay far enough back. The Reapers are all you need to worry about, which is why we did go into the Skeletal Warriors. For Corpse Tendrils, we're down over to the Vulnerable one. 1 into Necrotic Carapace. With the Reapers, we are constantly spawning corpses, so we do keep that up. Dump all 5 into Bone Spirit, down to the Essence Regen when you hit them. We don't need Compound Fracture, but we're taking 3 into Serration, which is where it's giving us the crit strike chance. Rapid Ossification, which is giving us the reduction in cooldowns. And I know there's a lot of conversations about this being broken. Is Spirit worth playing if it's broken? Yes, and I'm going to show you how it works currently with the bug. You can manage it quite well, especially considering what you're doing with the rotation, and we'll go through that after the Paragon. And then lastly, we're taking Evulsion. We're just getting another multiplier from having corpses or mobs vulnerable. Well, we already talked about taking 3 into Inspiring Leader, and of course we take the key passive of Ossified Essence, and we're getting an additional based off of each point above 50, and we are sitting at about 350 when we cast, which is giving us that multiplier there from the key passive. Alright, for the Paragon board, first we got the start board and we have Amplify here. I am going to link in the planner in the description of this video, but I will pause here slowly so you can see in the video what this is. So currently right now we have Amplify in the main board. We are taking some of the resist, but mainly getting down here to this max life. As you if you need an extra point here for resistances, you can take out a max life and throw in some more resistances up the damage side and over here just to get into more damage. Going into the next board, we have Bone Graft, and we're taking the keys here. We're taking Reinvigorate for max essence. We're taking the Bone Crit Strike Chance. That's that 4% for that we talked about. You could get rid of this. In my case, I could get rid of this and get another point into another HP node, like right here. Take the maximum life from Tenacity, and in this board we have Essence. The next board you've got Flesh Eater. We're taking Corporeal here, or Corporeal, sorry, and that's going to give us more resistances and damage to elites, and then we take the damage to elites here. This is another one if you have enough intelligence, which if I get some new pieces with some GA for intelligence, this is going to spike up 1600. I would be able to remove a couple of these and add those into life nodes. Next board, we're heading into Cult Leader. This is where we're getting the defensiveness that our Reapers are able to stay alive. We're putting Dead Razor in the board here, and it's going to give us an additional 20% damage reduction. Who cares about the damage? We don't. We're just getting this node here for the intelligence to activate the 15% multiplier for the minions that you attack, and then we're getting 20% damage reduction here. We don't quite have enough dexterity, and that's okay. They do stay alive the way it is. We are getting the bonuses from the rare nodes here from using Dead Razor. Next up, we've got Scent of Death. We are taking another max life node here, and in this node we're going to have Dominate. Last glyph board, we have Bloodbath, and we've got Control in it. You could substitute Control out for another one, maybe a defensive one or whatnot. Control for bosses only impacts them when they're staggered, but I've had a lot of discussions with folks about this one, and bosses are actually kind of easy with this build because you don't need to be near them. So a lot of the mechanics that happen, it doesn't matter, you're not near them. We are taking this for the 10% or the 10 int to get the bonus here, and the same thing from here. Yeah, we are fortified a lot, so we do get a little additional damage, but it's additive, so it's not massive. Over here for the max life as well. And then over here, we did slot in the Blood Begets Blood. And the reason for that is this over here is going to give us a massive additive damage. 22.5, 22.5, and 22.5 are overpower damage. Alright, so that's the Paragon. So let's talk about the rotation itself. When you cast Bone Spirit without hitting a target, it's going to regen fairly slow. However, with Torment, when you do hit a crit strike, and all of your hits will be crit strike, it's going to multiply that by 165 plus when it hits a target. All of these regens are going to go off. Especially your second target, because this is going to be active for 4 seconds, and you get your Bone Spirit back up way before 4 seconds, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So when you're sitting at this full 270, as you see, my potion fell off and I'm still sitting at 288. So one thing to note here is, while Rapid Ossification says every 100 essence you spend reduces your cooldowns of your bone skills by 1.5 seconds. We are spending 300, or essentially, so it should reduce this immediately. And as you see, it doesn't. So the way the bug is working right now is it's storing the knowledge that you've spent the essence. And it's saying, hey, you've spent it. But it's not activating it until you use another spender. So the way you need to activate this to make sure it's still going is when you cast it, by utilizing Decrepify, see how it's immediately stored the information that I've spent that essence, and it's allowing for each time you use that spender that it's actually triggering Rapid Ossification. Why it's doing this, I don't know, I can't tell you, but what I can tell you is that when this is active and you're in combat, as you saw in the video, my Bone Spirit was up all the time. It also works for Bone Prison, it gives you a high uptime on it, which allows for the defensive side of Bone Prison as well as keeping that essence. So as far as your rotation goes, what you're looking for is that you're going to make sure you want to keep Tendrils up as much as possible, so that you get that crit multiplier. I really don't use Bone Prison Blood Mist that often, other than just getting out of sticky situations. That's really all it's in here for. The corpse is cool if it spawns it, but with the Reapers utilizing in this version, we've always got corpses. To keep Decrepifies up as much as you can, and why this is important is the 10% essence cost is negligible for our essence regen. As you see here, I cast it, and literally, I mean, I can sit here and spam it, and I'm not going to go down in essence. So spamming this as much as you want to keep the triggers of Rapid Ossification going is what you're looking for. Especially when you're fighting big packs, you can Corpse Tendril, throw a Prison on them, and cast Bone Prison, cast a couple of Decrepifies, and you'll be back up. So that's what's going to help with that. Plus you got your CDR from your Reapers, and so forth. So the other thing to note is for your Flesh Eater and Fueled by Death, you do want to make sure that you are spamming that as well. Your Raised Skeletons, so for your rotation as a whole, you're going to Corpse Tendril, Decrepify, Bone Prison, and then Bone Spirit, and then put your Decrepifies out to get it back up, and then you'll cast it again. So that's the build. It's not overly complicated. It is very gear specific in what you need to hit and the numbers you need to hit to make the build function. But once you get there, again, I mean, I don't have a single piece at 12 of 12 yet. This one's 9 of 12. That one's 9 of 12, 10 of 12. So as you see here, we're nowhere near the gear we need to push into the 110s, and we're already clearing 110s with ease. So there it is. There's the Bone Spirit build. Sorry it took me so long to get it out, but here we are. As always, you know where I'm at if you've got any questions, comments, concerns. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see you in the next build.